an honor to have you here. We're really excited. I know that you've done some FIBA things in the past. She's the founder and CEO of Speakout, a former journalist, and has been helping senior level executives, business owners, and community leaders create and deliver a non-boring, thank God, outstanding speeches and presentations for more than 2 decades. She is an author of a public speaking for Genius due out this summer. She has a new e-course and a workbook, and is a past president of the Miami chapter, National Association of Women's Business Owners. She serves on the board of directors of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce and South Florida Progress Foundation, and is active in other professional and civic organizations. Anne has her book and some information that's going to be out soon, so please stop by after and see her.
Thank you, Ali, Teresa. Ladies and gentlemen, Board of Directors, officers, FIBA members, and guests, I'm so excited to be with you today. And let's give our FIBA Women's Leadership Committee a big round of applause, right? For putting this incredible event together. By the time you leave today, you're going to know the 5 ways you can avoid the biggest, most common mistakes that leaders make. You ready for that? Yes. Okay. And why is this important? Because each of you wants to be a better leader. Is that not true? Then you already are. And speaking is one of the best ways that you can do that. I'm going to be thrilled to share with you these techniques and concepts and a few observations that I've made over the past few decades working with senior level executives, with business owners, and community leaders like you. Now, I need a little confession here. I started out in life as a very shy, very curious, pear-shaped teenager. And I never, ever saw myself on camera, God forbid, or center stage. But because I was curious, I became a newspaper reporter. And then I went on to be a freelance writer. And in the course of doing this, I started a company. And to advance my company and also the causes that were important to me, I found myself very reluctantly being pulled into the world of public speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably happening to you now. If it already hasn't happened, how many of you have ever done a speech or a presentation? Everybody, right? And it's going to get even worse, I promise you. Going forward, you're going to be asked to do more. So to help you advance on your path to more successful public speaking, I have put together a 5-letter acronym that will guide you through the process. And that acronym is the word poser. Now, let me get my friend over here. Okay. Now, many of you may know that a poser is someone or something pretending to be what they're not, right? Sexier, smarter, more cultured, savoir-faire, whatever. Teddy here is one coolly dressed dude, wouldn't you say? Yes. But he's really a teddy bear underneath it all. So why do I think, before I give you what those 5 letters are in poser, why do I believe it's important for all of us to be better speakers, better leaders? Because you've heard the expression, the squeaky wheel gets the grease? Well, that squeaky wheel isn't more talented or visionary than any other wheel. They're just louder. I'm not suggesting you simply are louder when it's your turn to speak. There are a few other things that go into it. But the idea is you will miss opportunities. You will get passed over for new challenges. You probably won't get the salary, the clients, the recognition you deserve, and not for any good reason. It's just that you're not being heard. So let's begin with the first of the biggest mistakes, the most common mistakes that I have observed leaders make. And it's brought to you, the first one is brought to you by the letter P, which stands for practice and plan. What did somebody say? What?
I thought it was posture.
Posture? Posture is important too. That could be, and we'll add posture to it. So I have many clients who have come to me and say, oh, I've been in the industry for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I don't need to plan anything. I don't need to plan my remarks. And an equally terrible one is, I don't want to practice, Anne. I want to appear natural and unrehearsed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing natural about public speaking. Makeup, hair, all this other stuff we have to do, all right? You guys don't have to do that, I know, but you do have to wear something nice. So the other part of that is practicing. How do you practice? Remember, you're not creating an essay or a novel. You're creating words that need to be spoken aloud, which is why we need to practice. Okay, the next biggest mistake that I have observed leaders making is brought to you by the letter O. Now I'm going to ask everybody to stand up, please. Okay, everybody stand up. O stands for organizing your content. So everybody go like this with your mouth, please. That is the O is for the opening. If your opening isn't very good, we're going to look at our watch and our phone, and is she done yet? Okay? The next part, go like this with your hands, take your neck. The neck is the pre-body. That's where you connect your opening to the main part of your message. It's a little mini commercial that tells us what's coming. All right, give yourself a big hug now. The body of your speech is where you raise the pros, the cons, the stories, the statistics, your main points. Okay, now give yourself a pat on the tush, please. Nice big pat. Okay, that is the close of your presentation. And please go with me for a minute. Blah, 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 together. Blah, 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 blah. Now sigh. That's all I have to say. Are there any questions? That is not an acceptable close. Okay, you can sit down. Okay. So then the next mistake that I've observed is brought to you by the letter S. S stands for simplify and slant your message. What do I mean by simplify? You, each of you, are the experts. I couldn't even begin to understand what you do, the tax, the international banking, all the regulations that you're involved with. Your job is to simplify it for those of us who are not as intelligent or at least not as experienced in your arena, yes? And then we all don't process information the same way, isn't that true? So you want to slant it. In your audience, you're going to have kings and queens who don't really want to listen to you, who know everything. So you've got to create a message for them. You have the influencers who love to party, who need to be saying, oh, you're so terrific, you're so wonderful all the time, and hate detail. You have the steadies who say, why do we have to change? Everything is fine. I mean, we need a new way of doing this? And then you have the checklisters who want you to give it to them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. God forbid you go from 1 to 4. What happens? They think you're stupid, incompetent, whatever. So you've got to adjust your message, slant it to satisfy the different personalities in your audience. The fourth most common mistakes that I've observed speakers making is brought to you by the letter E. Now, E stands for energy, entertain, and engage. As I said before, public speaking is a form of show business. It really doesn't matter how you feel when you have to make the presentation. Energy needs to be there. Have you ever been to somebody who's just droning on, and who's going to say yes to that person? Probably no. So you want to pull that energy from inside of you and have it shine. And entertain. Almost nobody today really wants to listen to anyone else. You're being an exceptionally nice audience, but most people would rather listen to themselves than anyone else. So how can you make your message more entertaining? And finally, engage. How can you build in audience interaction? Because you really want to be the show, right? So how can I help you be part of the show? And a good leader intuitively does those three things. The last most common mistake that leaders make is brought to you by the letter R. And this stands for rally for action. What do you want to happen at the end of the presentation? Have you been to presentations and they have all this great material and then they stop and they wonder why nobody does anything? The adage goes, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. And many speakers don't ask for anything at the end of the presentation. So a quick recap, the POSER acronym stands for, P is for plan and practice. The O is for, the S is for, the E is for, and the R is for rally. So you don't have to be a poser like Peter here, ever, unless you want to be. Of course, that's your choice. But by being able to fly over those 5 objections, those 5 common mistakes that leaders make, you can fly anywhere that you want to go. I do have a challenge for all of you today, a 90-day challenge. And that is, if you're already speaking, I want you to be even better. And if you're not, in the next 90 days, I want you to go out there and get even better. And how can you do that? First of all, there are all kinds of clubs, Rotary clubs, business groups that are dying to hear from experts like you. I call that your off Broadway opportunity to get started. Now, and also you can do video. You want to do video as well. Second, make sure that you get feedback. Third, seek out community resources like Toastmasters, college campuses have great courses, professional coaches like me. We are all here to help you. So in closing, when you become a more confident, effective speaker, when you learn how to share your passion and share your expertise with others, not only you and your entire organization will grow more successful, you will be helping to make our community, and in fact, our whole world, a much better place. Thank you.